devastating. I mean, you could take all their attackers away with just one card, and all they get is lands. This seems really good. It's an instant. Of course, it has to be if you're dealing with attacking creatures. Most board wipes are sorceries. I think this is pretty good. There's a lot of good control cards in white. Okay. Well, I thought this was a dinosaur at first, but it's a human shaman. 3 casting, 0/1 haste. When this card attacks, it becomes a copy of another target non-legendary attacking creature until end of turn. So I think this is pretty cool. You don't really block with it, and you need another creature, but in aggressive decks, you'll usually have something good that you could copy and not legendary. So this card will be useful. Red aggression is always a thing, and we might be seeing this in some tournaments. Here's a legendary Merfolk Wizard, 3 casting, 2/2. Kopala, Warden of Waves. Spells your opponent's cast that target a Merfolk you control cost 2 more to cast. And abilities your opponents activate that target a Merfolk you control also cost 2 more to activate. So this is harder to kill. It's harder to kill your other Merfolk. This is kind of like a Merfolk Lord, but when most people think of Lords, they think of giving up 1/1 or indestructible or something. So this could be used in a pretty cool Wizard EDH deck, or of course a Merfolk EDH deck. It's pretty cool. Alright, here's a card I think could be something. This is Shaper's Sanctuary. 1 casting enchantment. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. So, if you're playing against a pesky control deck where your opponent is always killing your creatures, usually by targeting them, you'll be able to replace that card with a new card. And the key to this is that it just costs 1. If you want to know what a good tournament-style Magic card is going to be, you need to start with the mana cost. And, you know, 1s and 2s are really what you're looking for. So this could be a big deal. We'll see. Sword Point Diplomacy, 3 casting sorcery. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. For each of those cards, put that card into your hand unless any opponent pays 3 life. Then exile the rest. So, this card essentially says, reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Take a basic land and the worst of the 2 other remaining cards, put them into your hand, and your opponent pays 3 life. Because that's what's going to happen. You're probably going to have 1 land, maybe 2. So, and your opponent's not going to give you the best card that you draw. And he might not even give you the second worst one. It might just say take the worst card and your opponent loses 6, which was probably all right to lose 6, but I don't know if you really needed a certain card. I guess it all depends. In a control deck, this seems kind of like a control card, but you know, even if you got your opponent to lose 9 life, I mean, I don't know. It seems like you need to wear them down a little bit further. So I'm not sure what kind of deck this would go in. Maybe you could splash this into a red deck where your opponent is not going to want to give you cards at all and is not going to want to pay life. So they would be in a dilemma there. So I think that's where this card shines. You got to kind of splash this into a red deck. I'd play it because I like cards like this. I try to make odd cards good. Hostage Taker, 4 casting, 2/3, Human Pirate. When Hostage Taker enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. Now, I think this is pretty good. Not only do you remove a good artifact or creature, but you could cast it. I mean, it serves a lot of functions. So, and it's in my 2 favorite colors, so I just might have to try this out. Captivating Crew, 4 casting, 4/3, Human Pirate. For 4 mana, you may gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. So this is good. This is a decently cost creature with decent power and toughness, and it has, you know, active treason on a stick. You could, with enough mana, you could take all their creatures, and just win in one attack. So costs quite a bit of mana, but I've never seen a card like this where you could just take as many creatures as you wanted as long as you had enough mana. So we'll see how this card goes. River's Rebuke. Now, I don't know how you lose with a card like this. This is a 6-casting sorcery. Return all non-land permanents target player controls to their owner's hand. Now, if you're playing control and your opponent's has got tons of creatures out, you play this and it resolves. I mean, they got to spend a whole lot of mana just to regenerate their board a bit. And there are lots of cards in Magic where you might want to put your own cards, your own permanents back into your hand so you could recast them. Like, well, I guess it depends. I've seen some crazy blue decks that do stuff like this. So this card's pretty cool. It'll do a lot of cool things. Now this might be the second best rare in the set. This is Regisaur Alpha, 5-casting 4/4 dinosaur. Other dinosaurs you control have haste, and when this card enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 green dinosaur with trample. And of course that dinosaur will also have haste if this alpha stays in the battlefield. So this is a 2-for-1 card. This is the type of card that you would want to put back into your hand after you cast it to play again and get another dinosaur, or flicker it in. There's lots of stuff you could do with this. I expect this card to be very good. This is Entrancing Melody, and it's 2 blue and X sorcery. Gain control of target creature with converted mana cost X. So your average decent creature is a 3 or a 4 caster, which will cost you 5 or 6 mana, and that's kind of standard. But what you could do is you can gain control of a vehicle, or you can gain control of a token for just 2 mana. You can gain control of a token because tokens converted mana cost is 0. So this is pretty cool. It could be good. Ashes of the Aberrant. 2 mana for an enchantment. Players can't cast spells from grave